Our mission, our single biggest priority is to make Canada an affordable country. So you can afford homes, afford food, afford to start a family, and afford to have hope again. But hope requires safety. After 10 years of Liberals and 8 months of Carney, life is more dangerous and more expensive. But the good news is, life was not like this before the Liberals, and it won't be like this after they're gone. Books. We're going to get rid of all of that. We're going to cut the bureaucracy, the consultants, the foreign aid, the handouts to phony refugees. The industrial carbon tax, which is still in place, applies on all of this stuff. And Carney wants to actually triple that carbon tax. All those materials you see there, all the materials in the back, the insulation, the framing, the steel, aluminum, plastic, drywall that go into building a home are going to be more expensive because of Carney's industrial carbon tax. I grew up down in Shaughnessy. Anybody from Shaughnessy? There we go, one guy from Shaughnessy. If he works here, give him a raise. You know, life was great when I grew up in Calgary. My folks were teachers, and they raised me to believe that if I worked hard, I could have a great life. I started off delivering newspapers, worked at TELUS, went to Wisewood, and joined the wrestling team, played hockey, and even when times were tough, we could always afford good food on our plate. It's the same story that Jazz had when he came to this community. He started off with nothing, to study business, became a builder, became well known and respected in his community, was elected to be a member of Parliament. And that was the Canadian promise, that anybody from anywhere who worked hard could achieve anything they wanted. That you'd be safe. Your kids could leave their bicycles on the front porch and not worry that it would be stolen. That your car wouldn't go missing in the morning when you went to bed at night. You didn't have to worry about someone kicking open your window and stealing from you or extorting you. Canadians were safe. Opportunity was plentiful. Life was affordable. But that promise has been broken after 10 years of Liberal government. They've doubled the debt, and all that money printing has doubled housing costs and doubled food bank lineups. Now, Mark Carney was elected claiming that he would be different, than he would do the opposite of what he'd been saying for 10 years and what his political party, the Liberals, had done to the country for the prior decade. But what we've learned since is that Mark Carney is even more costly than Justin Trudeau. He's doubled the deficits that Trudeau left behind. After 10 years of Liberals and 8 months of Carney, life is more dangerous and more expensive. But the good news is, life was not like this before the Liberals, and it won't be like this after they're gone. We're going to bring home a brighter future for all of us. It starts with making Canada an affordable country. To be affordable, we have to have an affordable budget. You know, this most recent Liberal budget doubles Trudeau's deficits with new Carney spending and cooks the books. But we're going to get rid of all of that. We're going to cut the bureaucracy, the consultants, the foreign aid, the handouts to phony refugees, the corporate welfare, and use the savings to bring down taxes, inflation, and debt. We need to reward hard work. And companies like Sunder, which supplies construction products with the necessary materials to build. The industrial carbon tax, which is still in place, applies on all of this stuff. And Carney wants to actually triple that carbon tax. All those materials you see there, all the materials in the back, the insulation, the framing, the steel, aluminum, plastic, drywall that go into building a home are going to be more expensive because of Carney's industrial carbon tax. Only a conservative government will get rid of the Liberal carbon tax for everyone, for everything, for all, and for good. And that will bring down prices for everything. Getting rid of that carbon tax will lower the cost of food because it will reduce the cost of farm equipment and fertilizer that goes into growing that food. We also need to get rid of, cut taxes on investment. You know, when you invest in this economy, you end up paying a penalty in order to sell that investment and buy a new one. That locks investment down and makes us a weaker economy. That's why Conservatives are going to scrap the capital gains tax for anyone who reinvests money here in Canada. So So you decide to sell one business and invest in another one in this country, or you sell a foreign investment and bring the money back to this country, you'll pay no capital gains tax. You can continue to roll over your capital, creating more wealth and opportunity for your fellow Canadians without paying any capital gains tax. One day down the road, when you decide to sell out for good and go on a cruise, well, at that point, you'll pay the tax and the government will get its share of, get its pound of salt. But in the meantime, you should be able to grow and compound your capital and expand our economy. This would be economic rocket fuel for our country and for all of the great investors and entrepreneurs in this room. We need to cut income tax, particularly on people who are working overtime. We've got hardworking young people who are doing, 30 hours a week of overtime because they want to get ahead, and they're punished for it. High marginal income tax rates punish hard work. We want to reward hard work with lower income taxes as well. In other words, our plan is to cut taxes on work, investment, energy, and home building so that we can unlock the potential of our country. But especially out here, unlocking our potential and getting more construction happening means producing more oil and gas. The Liberal government has been attacking our oil and gas sector for a decade now, driving $100 billion of investment out of our nation, blocking pipelines, taxing industry. Conservatives know that if we want to get our oil and gas booming again, it takes one thing from Ottawa. One thing the government has to do. Get out of the way and repeal the No New Pipelines Law 69. Get out of the way, end the ban on shipping oil off the northwest of British Columbia. Get out of the way and rapidly grant permits for mines, LNG plants, port expansions, and other infrastructure. Get out of the way and end the emissions cap so that we can increase oil and gas production with projects like the Tech Frontier mine. Those massive expansions of oil and gas will mean more business for Sunder and all of its employees, bigger paychecks, and a more powerful Canadian dollar. Our mission, our single biggest priority is to make Canada an affordable country so you can afford homes, afford food, afford to start a family, and afford to have hope again. But hope requires safety, and many people in this room are afraid. Many people across Canada are increasingly terrified by the crime, the chaos, the drugs and disorder that we see in our neighborhoods every day. We have to replace the catch and release Liberal justice system with a tough on crime, lock up the criminals approach. And that's what we're going to do. Conservatives will increase and bring in mandatory prison sentences for extortion. We will lock up the extortionists, and we will make sure no other extortionists get into our country. Stop them from coming to Canada. We have to not only, finally banned the Bishnoi gang, but we need to go even further and make sure no more Bishnoi gangsters get into Canada so that everybody here feels safe in their own communities. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this a safe and beautiful, pristine community that is on the side of law-abiding people, just like the entrepreneurs here. Our purpose, again, is to make this a country where anybody from anywhere can achieve anything, where it doesn't matter if your name is Chang or Charles, Martin or Mohammed, Smith or Singh, Poilevre or Patel. If you work hard, you should be able to have a great life. Even if you start at the bottom of the valley, you should be able to climb to the mountaintop. Our mission should be nothing short of making Canada the most affordable country in the world, where anybody from anywhere can achieve anything. It is that hope that keeps driving me forward to fight for my hometown of Calgary and for all of Canadians, the promise of Canada, that anyone who works hard gets a beautiful house, delicious meat and potatoes on the dinner table every night, on a safe street, united under our proud flag. Let's get it done. Canada first. God bless all of you. Thank you.